This episode is sponsored by Google Play with the help of Candy Crush Saga.
Hey guys, welcome to SJU. It's Wednesday, I think, and that means there's a new trailer for the Snyder Cut. We're gonna jump into it. I'm your
every
host.
Wednesday. That's what
every
that
Wednesday.
means.
New cut, new Snyder Cut. That was the 2020 promise. I am joined by Lon Harris. Hello, sir.
Hey.
And Fandom's own Kim Taylor Foster. How you doing?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
Welcome to the show. And I'm so glad that we brought you on just in time to have to talk about the Snyder Cut, the least hotbed thing on the internet.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. I am here for this.
Well, good morning to everyone, except for Kim. I don't know how time zones work exactly, but I think, Kim, you are actually already in 2021.
Correct, yes.
I hope it's better.
And I can tell you that the pandemic is still raging.
Yay! Well, if that's the case, then it's a good thing that the Snyder Cut being released on HBO Max. So let's get into this thing.
You don't have to go to a theater for 6 hours to experience the Snyder Cut as it was meant to be.
Before we get into the Snyder Cut, I do want to say this Snyder Cut full episode is going to be brought to you by Google Play. We have a link in the description so that you can satisfy your gaming sweet tooth with Candy Crush Saga. Download it now. When you're taking breaks from the Snyder Cut, Candy Crush, that's your go-to. The pandemic is still raging in 2021, according to Kim. Candy Crush, that's your go-to. Get it.
It's another epic saga. We've got the Zack Snyder's epic saga, and then we've got the epic saga of, your traverse across Caramel Mountain.
Exactly. Well, so let's get into this. And Ryan, make sure you're pulling questions, comments, and stuff from the chat because I want to see what they think as well. We got a new Snyder Cut teaser trailer via Vero, baby, the official home of Zack Snyder. Then, of course, it went online everywhere.
You could watch it. You don't have to go to
Vero. It was like a slightly longer version of the Hallelujah one they've already put out. We did get some new stuff. Mm-hmm. There's the new look at Steppenwolf, which we'll get into. Some new shots of Cyborg and Hippolyta. Aquaman doing some fighting. We got a little more Batmobile action. And then, of course, we got this black and white version that was released afterwards, which Zack Snyder seems to love, that I know, Lon, you want to talk about a little bit. And we've also got some quotes about the project from Zack Snyder. But before we jump into those, I just kind of want to get a general reaction from the two of you. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How you feeling? Snyder Cut trailer.
I'll start if you don't mind, Lon. I mean,
please.
I keep watching the black and white version, and I haven't spoken to you much, Lon, about your thoughts on the black and white version yet. We'll get into that, but it makes it feel like a completely different film. Which is good for me. I mean, it eliminates that there's no kind of evidence of the dodgy humor that peppered the original cut, which we might talk about also later. But if we're sticking to the black and white theme, it makes it feel much more somber, arty, and classy, and I am here for that.
Look, I agree. I think black and white, on one hand, it's a cheap and easy stunt to make something look classier, but it works. It works it worked for Logan. It works for this. If you render any movie black and white to me.
Fury Road also did that, the re-release. Yeah. Blood and Chrome, I think they called it.
Yeah, you could do black and white up any movie for me, and it'll be classy. Heavyweights, Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas.
Yeah. Where's that black and white Surf Ninjas cut? That's what
I've been waiting for it.
I actually agree. I mean, I had some thoughts about it, but I agree with what you guys are saying, like what Kim was saying, that it does make it Snyderian. Like, it feels very Zack Snyder to have this Superman in black and white, these huge, crazy visuals, but done in this kind of retro way. It does make it feel even more like you're immersed in the mind and the aesthetic of one Zachary Snyder. So on that level, I do totally get it. I think what's weird to me is that this is the Snyder Cut. Like, at this point, we're getting what should be the unfiltered, like, this is everything Zack Snyder wanted to do with this movie. This is his personal take. So I don't get why we're still up in the air about this stuff. Like, does he want it to be black and white, or does he want it to be color? This is your cut, Zach. Like, this is your moment. Give it to us, man. And I still feel like he's kind of covering all his bases. Like, we're doing this weird game of like, well, maybe I'll just release it in black and white. They want me to do it in color. And it's like, I don't want to. I'm tired. It's been years. I just want to see Justice League now at this point in exactly the way Zack Snyder was. Like, I'd like him sitting next to me, and I'd like to be able to look over and have him go like, yep, that's it. The whole time, just to make me feel comfortable.
There, just rubbing your shoulders, and there is
just like, you okay with that, Zach? And he's like, aces, and I'm like, cool. Let's get back to it.
There is something about black and white that I think the studios. Hang on, actually, someone talk. Just a second. We have someone checking something at our house that just walked in. Someone talk.
Oh,
talk.
I thought someone was like checking in with you, like, we have breaking news.
Well, can we get an update on that, Joe?
It turns out John Cena's Peacemaker is in Justice League.
Wow. He's not, but Joker is. But I want to get on this thing because
they're all the entire Suicide Squad's in Justice League.
We did get a quote about the black and white. It's interesting. I feel like black and white is like this weird step too far for studios sometimes, where they're just, because there's a lot of movies throughout history where the director was like, I want it to be in black and white, and the studio was like, actually, because it's me, we just rewatched The Crow last night, because of course we did, and that's a movie where they were like, we want this to be black and white to look like the graphic novel, and the studio was like, no sir.
Right. But I remember there's that one, that Soderbergh one, The Good German, where the studio totally fought him on it because he wanted it to look like, have this like World War II sort of vintage with Clooney's in it. And that it did end up coming out black and white, but it was this big fight at the time. And today I feel like if Soderbergh was like, I want to do a movie in black and white, there'd be like 8 streaming services would be like, go for it, Steve. Here's 15 million.
But Snyder did say my ideal version of the movie is the black and white IMAX version of the movie. That to me is the most fan-centric, most pure, most Justice League experience, because that's how I lived. This is an interesting quote, because that's how I lived with the movie for 2 years in black and white. When I do the live stream of the trailer, Steph and I colored a black and white version of the trailer. So the first version that I'm going to put out, probably what I'm going to talk about on Tuesday, because he did like he's been doing with the Snyder Cut little fan events on Vero. But he wanted to talk about the black and white version of the trailer specifically. So in addition to the black and white, we got some new looks at stuff. He updated Steppenwolf. That was the big joke of the day yesterday on the internet. It's a lot of spikes on that man. And
yeah. Put more spikes on. I was saying add 1,000 animated spikes is the new put a bird on it.
Yes.
How do we make Steppenwolf better?
I mean,
Spike. I think he should be spiky. He'd be in constant danger from coyotes. So you want him to just be
just covered
on all sides, protected.
He does look like he just got back from the vet and they don't want him to lick something.
Yeah, well, yes. The problem with Steppenwolf was not really the way he looked, right? Except for the fact that he was CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, Steppenwolf suffers from what so many of these trying to set up shared universe movies suffer from, which is we're watching Justice League. This is the payoff moment. And it still feels like, Darkseid maybe one day coming. This guy works for him. So it still felt like a tease. And I think that was not the moment for more teasing. And I do, to his credit, it does seem like Snyder is aware of that. And that's why we're getting more Darkseid-centric material in this cut. So it feels more satisfying and less like one day you might get Darkseid. But to me, that was always the big problem with Steppenwolf. Is it's like, he's like, who's this guy? He's a henchman character. Mm-hmm. It'd be like if Gary Busey was the only villain in Lethal Weapon. You're like, but doesn't he work for someone? What's going on here?
I was wondering if Steppenwolf goes out the same way as the original version, will the helmet that we see fall be the new version?
Good question.
Just the much spikier. Yeah.
Yeah. We put the effort into making that shot.
Will the spikes just go everywhere? Is that maybe the secret? It's like a shrapnel thing?
It's like stepping on a Lego.
It's like, I might die, but you'll be covered in spikes.
Well, with a little more Steppenwolf talk, Zach Harris in chat asks, in light of the new Steppenwolf design, what character in any movie would be improved by making them shinier and adding a million spikes? And I think this is a question every filmmaker asks themselves.
That's a great question.
Really?
Confined to movies, or can we extend it to TV series?
You can extend it to anything you want, really. I mean, I would give AOC a million spikes. I think that would be cool.
I'm thinking Princess Diana in The Crown.
Definitely improved.
Queen Elizabeth would trust her even less. She was just showed up covered in spikes. Like, well, we don't care for this, do we?
Still such a charming gaze, though, even under all those spikes.
Oh, yeah.
Just something about that woman.
Prime Minister Thatcher just not having it.
Well, we actually have a lot of mixed reaction in chat about the trailer. A lot of people at Makshewski says, I was super hyped about the Snyder Cut. I love Man of Steel. I like Batman v Superman, but this trailer is disappointing. A few people saying that it's too... Comic Book Lover says the trailer was too long, but he can't wait to see this. At this point, I don't know how to react to trailers for this thing. It's just been in our conscious for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find what I keep trying to do, which is frustrating, is I'm trying to figure out what we're seeing and how it interacts with the movie I already know. Like, it's frustrating, I think, at some points, because we're not really given enough information about here's what's changed, here's what's added, here's what's different. So my brain is trying to like put it together like a puzzle every time I see new footage, when I should just be allowing the footage to wash over me and enjoy it as I would any other trailer. So it is, I agree with you. It's hard to know how to like parse it. Although I do think a lot of what we're seeing looks kind of cool. I've been pretty cynical about this project from the start, but I'm going to definitely watch it. I'm intrigued by what we're seeing.
I mean, I take it as an attempt to just establish tone. He said that he wants to hold back the new footage, you know, including the reshot footage, which is around 4 minutes, I think. Is that right? That's what I've been reading. And yeah, it feels to me like he's just trying to establish tone. And actually, with the Leonard Cohen track and the black and white, actually, I feel quite emotionally blackmailed into watching it.
So it worked.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, that gives you. And you said the word somber before. I mean, I think that's what he's really bringing. It's like he's trying to communicate in every way possible that it's not going to be like the jokey version that we
did. Yeah, which didn't land the way it did for, say, the Avengers. And Kim, I absolutely agree with you. I think, and this is not shade towards Zack Snyder at all, he's very good at emotional shorthand, the same way that like Pixar is good at emotional shorthand. And dude just knew that Hallelujah was going to land for folks and just like hit that spot for a lot of people. Totally worked. And I totally agree with you. There's no way they were going to just start laying out like, hey, here's a ton of new footage that we shot. I think the 4-minute report was weird. Like the 4 minutes, like I think referred to something specific. And then I think he's insisted there's like a ton of new unseen stuff or something. I don't know. It's a hopelessly complex timeline that
it doesn't seem like just like a lot of the time with director's cuts, it's not whole new chunks of movie. It's like this scene is longer, or like this scene had connective tissue with this scene that got lost. Mm-hmm. And it does not look like that's what this is. It looks like we're getting subplots and characters and whole threads that were removed from the original movie. I mean, you'd have to get it from the movie we saw into a 4-part, 6-hour series. So there's got to be a lot of stuff both that was just left out of the original movie and brand new. It does sound like 4 minutes is not going to be enough to cover all of the new material that we're seeing, but I don't know.
Hector G in the chat is saying that the 4 minutes is referring to like of the new additional shoots that they're doing, and then AJC in the chat is also saying like, and then it's over 3 hours of new footage. So that's kind of how their understanding of the 4 minutes versus all the other stuff. I mean, obviously it's a 6 hour series, so there has to be a lot of new stuff.
The distinction would also be stuff he shot that we didn't see because Whedon didn't use it versus brand new stuff that didn't exist before Warner.
We have at some point we'll do like
we may never know exactly where that line is.
At some point we'll do like a post-mortem on the Snyder Cut, just a big episode where we'll get into our theory a little bit that everything everyone's reporting about the Snyder Cut is horseshit. And no one actually knows what existed, what didn't exist. And the bottom line is this guy really wanted to make his movie. And so
part of me does feel, oh, did Joe freeze?
Oh, did I freeze?
Did I freeze?
Not for me.
Who froze? Kim's here. Lon froze. Oh no, we lost Lon. Kim, let me ask you this. Did you just in terms of like his other entries, did you enjoy Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then this is like a natural extension for you of be like, yeah, give me more, or?
Yeah, no, I don't love either film, although in retrospect, I like Man of Steel more than I did when I first saw it. That's definitely a film that has grown on me. Batman vs Superman, not so much. But that doesn't mean to say I'm not looking forward to this. I am, and not just because I'm curious. And actually, this trailer and the tone it sets does draw me in. As I said, I feel emotionally blackmailed, but I'm totally buying it. So I liked. Yeah, I guess I liked Watchmen. I know that's obviously not part of the continuity, but in terms of Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, I feel in some ways he's a step away from just really winning me over, and it could be the Snyder Cut.
Right on. This is definitely his opus. I lean more towards the just like as a film lover and comic book lover, I'm pure curious at this point. Like, this guy's getting his full license to do his 16-hour or 34-hour, epic version of a very specific point in comic book history. Like, this definitely to me feels like one of those DC Elseworld comics that like I loved when I was younger. It's like you have normal DC, and then 1 month they're just like, yeah, but what if they all died, or what if they were all Soviets, or whatever. Like, it definitely feels like someone gave him a blank check to just do an ode to comics he loved when he was a kid. And as much as I make fun of the spikes, I love X-Men Age of Apocalypse probably more than anything, and that was 80% spikes. I can't talk too much trash.
And what a unique position to be in. It's such a unique set of circumstances that he's found himself in. And how many directors would love the chance to go back and remake a film that they were really invested in that got screwed up by somebody else, Maybe the same number that would also go, no way, that's done, that's in my past. But obviously it's a passion project for Zack Snyder. And
I think it's interesting too about these DC characters and how malleable they are. Like Marvel characters, there's sort of a few ways to go in adapting them, and we sort of get similar versions all the time, but there's so many different ways to approach like a Superman movie that this keeps happening, because we had like Richard Donner and Superman 2, and then he came and did his like new cut, the Donner cut of the original. And there's always like all of these really contrasting takes on how to do Superman or Batman on screen. And so we do tend to get this, like, it's a very revision happy sort of catalog of movies, because there are always like these very contrasting ways to like interpret these characters. Well,
and then speaking of cuts, I just want to throw this in there and then we'll move on. A cut that I think is getting thrown under the rug a little bit because of the Snyder Cut is this Godfather 3 coda.
Yes, the death of Michael Corleone. Yeah.
5 less minutes, right?
Yeah. I don't. Does this fix the Godfather 3? I'm really fascinated to see this. Like, I don't know. I mean, to me, the issue with Godfather 3 was Sophia, because poor girl's not an actor.
Yeah, I mean, look, Godfather 3, I think gets like it's got problems, and it's a pretty good movie that's at the end of a series of 2 like all-time classics. So I get why it has the reputation it does. But I don't think Godfather 3 is like a disgracefully terrible movie. I feel like it's kind of got that bum rap because it's a disappointing ending to this incredibly stellar series. But I'm still interested in it as a movie enough to be interested in new stuff that we've never seen and this different sort of way to wrap it all up. Like I would never not want to see that just because 3 isn't as good as 1 and 2.
Any thoughts on shaping up the Godfather legacy, Kim?
Yeah, well, if these 5 fewer minutes and whatever else is done to it fixes it, then then I'm with Lon. Yeah, I'm interested to see it. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm curious if they just took like Winona Ryder's audition footage and like put it over top of Sofia Coppola. They're like, fixed it. Done. Done. And I hold nothing. She's a wonderful filmmaker that was not meant to be in front of the camera, is what it is. And yeah, I agree with you guys. I think that movie gets I haven't seen it in ages, but I think it does get that so much worse of a rap because it's like, oh, you're not one of the greatest films of all time.
Yeah, I'm right. I feel like if you pulled it out and gave it a different title and all the characters different names and it was just this 90s gangster movie, people would be like, did you ever see that one with Pacino and Andy Garcia? Real good, man. You know, if it was like an underseen, little-known movie, but the fact that it's The Godfather Part 3 is like, that sucks.
Yeah, that's rough. You know what's not rough? Liking, subscribing.
Never mind. Never mind. Go ahead. Keep going.
You know what was rough? That weird transition to liking and subscribing to our videos. No, it was fine. We appreciate you guys watching. It keeps Ryan employed. And that's what this is all about. Let's see here. I got things to plug, you guys. You ready for these? We got Fandom 5 this Friday. We're doing a Fandom 5 this Friday on both Xbox and PlayStation. All these new consoles are dropping. No one can buy them. Dogs and cats living together. It's pure chaos. We're doing this one a little different. We want Xbox super fans and we want PlayStation super fans. We're going to put them head to head. You win real money, and then you win honor and respect for your console of choice. So there's a link in the description with more info. Come check that out. These are always a blast to do. I was super bummed. I missed the last one, which was Star Wars, but I'm back, and I'm super excited to do some trivia stuff with you guys. It's going to be a good time. And of course, for us, November means Veterans Day, and that means we're spotlighting, like we did last November, our friends over at Stack Up. Stack Up brings veterans and civilians together through a shared love of video gaming. They serve U.S. and allied service members, veterans, and civilians to assist in crisis intervention, suicide prevention, and issues concerning mental health through gaming and community. They do a ton of amazing work. We met them because they always bring groups to events like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that. So we got to meet them. Bringing groups to San Diego. They send gaming systems and packages to veterans in need, that can't necessarily afford stuff like that. Because people just need healthy outreach and hobbies and things to do and things to focus on and loves to bond around. And I think they really take the most positive aspects of fandom and put them towards a good place. November is their call to arms. It's their biggest fundraising push of the year. So we've got a link in the description for you guys to follow and check out. We really appreciate you doing so. We got a few quick hits, you guys. Transformers is back. They got a new director and a new villain in Steppenwolf. So
he just transforms into one big spike.
One large spike, one single large spike. So Paramount Pictures and Hasbro Studios are eyeing Stephen Cable Jr., who did Creed 2, to direct the new Transformers movie. It'll be in a completely reinvented universe. Negotiations apparently haven't started yet, but he is their top pick. They started their revamp a little while back by greenlighting 2 different scripts to sort of push forward at once. Look, I'm the biggest Transformers fan. I don't think I need a new movie for a minute. I'm good. They've really worn out their welcome for me.
I think I'd be fine with a new Transformers movie if it was like fun and light, like more in the style of Bumblebee, like more fun, less like somber and long and epic, like the Bay ones, which I don't think it ever needed to be. But I was thinking about this yesterday. They still seem like they're implying that this movie's like the kickoff to a new, like they're basically, forget about Bumblebee. This movie now will kickstart a new Transformer verse on screen because it's even going to tie in with like the G.I. Joe movies that they're making. And that to me is exhausting. Like, I don't need that. Like, I think it would work better to just make some Transformers adventures. They don't need to like violate time. Like, this one doesn't have to necessarily like render that one obsolete, but I'd make a standalone adventures. They're the Transformers. Like, I don't think you need these crazy overarching plots that are all interconnected to make the Transformers work.
Oh, I guarantee you that's what you're getting. You are getting a Hasbroverse. Kim?
I enjoy
spots.
I totally enjoy standalone movies. I like Transformers too. I like the film series except for 2 and 3. I like everything else.
You like The Last Night, really?
I love The Last Night, Lon. I'm a big fan. And that's the thing. So Bumblebee you can see as a standalone movie. But I want a continuation of The Last Night because of what they revealed with Unicron at the end. What happens now? You
do want to see the Earth transform into a demon robot.
I do, Joe, yes.
You know what? Honestly, that's how it should have ended. They should not have teased that. They should have just ended that movie with the Earth transforming into a devil robot.
Maybe you're right.
Credits.
Done. We all died.
I do feel like this director is a good choice. I wanted to say that because I like it when they pick when they attach kind of misfitting directors to blockbuster movies. And Travis Knight made a good job of Bumblebee, and I think Stephen Cable Jr. will make a good go if he accepts, if they go with him. Of the 7th Transformers film. Similarly, I'm looking forward to Ben Wheatley's Meg 2.
Yes, I think
that's a very intriguing combination of director and project. That one. I don't know if I've liked Wheatley stuff the more mainstream he gets. Like, I don't think Rebecca is among his better efforts, as opposed to stuff like A Field in England or Free Fire or Kill List, but I'm definitely interested in whatever that guy's going to do next. So, like, okay, you've won me back to the Meg. Congratulations.
Yeah, and look, Kim, you're in the right place if you just want to talk about the Meg.
We could just talk about Jason Statham and how he should be punching sharks more.
That's rule number one.
The lack of shark punching in that movie is unforgivable.
That's rule number one for this show, honestly. No matter what we're talking about, if you just want to take it to the Meg somehow. It is very welcome. It is perfectly welcome. We've got a little bit of streaming news too, and then we'll do. I think we have a little bit of AMA time. So Conan O'Brien is signing a strictly streaming deal. Sources tell Deadline that. And Judd Apatow. Judd Apatow has his next comedy set at Netflix. And Warner Media announced that Conan will officially end with its 10th season finale on June 2021. And then beginning in 2021, he will get his own weekly variety series on HBO Max. I honestly haven't been, I'm a bad fan. I stopped following along with Conan on TBS, but I think I've also just been bad at following late night in general. But I am intrigued with the idea of him sort of getting a blank check and no rules on HBO Max. Because I always love his travel specials and when he just really gets to start taking some big swings. So I'm excited about this.
And the travel specials are staying. That's the one thing they said will be sticking around.
Good. Which makes me
I mean, that's kind of what he and his producing partner were saying in the articles about this. Is like that late night format, like he's been doing it for decades, and it's just kind of stale. It's like it doesn't. The way people watch and enjoy TV now is like it's very out of date. This idea that, well, at the end of the broadcast day, we'll have an avuncular host that you like, and he'll introduce a band and a comedian, and he'll interview a celebrity, and he'll do a news-related monologue. Like that whole idea is just outdated now, and so I think it does make more sense for Conan to have a platform where he can like. His bit was always like a lot of the funniest stuff was sketches and characters and remote segments. And so now he can just focus on that and not have to focus so much on like bantering with Brie Larson for 6 minutes a night, you know, like, or whatever, about whatever she's working on.
Kim, do you think it's shocking or surprising at all that someone like Apatow would start focusing, you know, sort of those mid to high budget comedies on streaming as opposed to theatrical runs?
Not at all, no. I mean, especially in this climate, and things are changing very quickly, switching to streaming, as we know. So, no, and I think maybe that's the home for comedy now. You know, how many comedies do you see, you know, in the box office top 10 at the end of the year, in a normal year?
Yeah, no, it's super true. Definitely not anymore. I think
Not anymore when comedy ruled the box office.
I was thinking it was only a few years ago when Adam Sandler signed his first big Netflix deal, and the sort of conventional wisdom then was like, oh man, the end must be near. He must see that he's not going to be a box office hit anymore. He's signing on to Netflix. It was seen as like the consolation prize. Whereas I think we've gone a full 180. And today, if you are making comedies and you don't have any deal with any of these big streaming platforms, like you've been left behind, man. Like, and it was actually supposed to open theatrically, but now it's going right to HBO Max. We're going to get Super Intelligence in just a few weeks, which is the latest Melissa McCarthy, Ben Falcone comedy. And their movies have always traditionally opened theatrically. Tammy and The Boss. And like now they're also going to go straight to HBO Max. And again, that was probably pandemic related. But from now on, that's probably where their movies will directly go. I doubt we'll go back to theaters with them in 2023 or whenever their next one hits. So yeah, I think what Kim's saying is probably true that for these big comedy filmmakers, they're all going to start gravitating to Netflix or Hulu or, you know, what have you.
Well, we got time for a couple of questions, and then Eric talked to some pretty cool people, so we're going to jump you over to that. But before we get there, Levetto asked, what's your favorite overused song in movies? His is You Get What You Give by the New Radicals, or Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence Clearwater. I actually can't remember what movies the New Radicals song is in. Other than every time I go to the grocery store, it's always playing, but I can't remember what movies that it's in.
It's I want to say like a lot of trailers. Like when it was a popular song, I feel like you'd see a lot of trailers where they do that you got the music in you part, which I didn't sing, so we don't get copyright strike.
Good work.
There's another Creedence song, Fortunate Son, that I feel like every Vietnam movie, like by law, has to include the like helicopters coming in while Fortunate Son plays, which is sort of tiresome. The other one that's like the total standard that everybody's sick of is I Feel Good, obviously, the James Brown, where it's like either the montage of the person getting up and they're like, hooray, I love life, or ironic usage where it's like a miserable sad sack and we're playing I Feel Good.
Yeah, I feel
Walking on Sunshine. Walking on Sunshine has to be a big one, right? I'm walking.
Oh yeah, Walking on Sunshine. I know that's in Secret of My Success. I'm trying to think of another movie I know.
High Fidelity. That was my first big intro to Jack Black. Was Jack Black dancing to Walking on Sunshine?
Right, you're right.
I thought you meant the Kids from Fame song. Then High Fidelity.
No, just the
film. Yeah.
Any needle drops you want to throw into this pile, Kim?
I mean, I would say Bad Moon Rising, because every time I hear it just takes me to American Werewolf. So that's always nice.
I think it's less like, I think it's less a case of like one song that gets used way too much. And it's more like if a song has been used really iconically, you kind of can't come back and do it again. Like, I feel like that's a thing that people try to do. Like, you'll see the Pixies' Where Is My Mind in anything else. And it's like, sorry, man, Fight Club did it already. Like, you can't have that song. David Fincher owns that song. Or like Layla even. Like, I've seen that show up in other things. And it's like, it's in Goodfellas, man. Give it up. You missed your chance.
Yeah, I feel like
I think that's the situation. It's like some filmmakers have like put a stamp on a song because it's just intimately associated with something, and like you can't get it back from that.
Yeah, Hey Jude belongs to Royal Tenenbaums for me.
Right. I just saw something. What was it? I saw a TV show that tried to use Son of a Preacher Man. And it's like, once Quentin's laid his dirty little mitts on it, it's kind of over. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is, you know? You can't have it back. Or the other Royal Tenenbaums one would be Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard. Like, good luck salvaging that one for another movie. Like, it's done. I'm sorry.
Slavin Rock asks, perhaps this is a little macabre, and we're very macabre on this show, so it's fine. What's your favorite funny film death? His is I shot Marvin in the face. The first one that comes to mind for me is Steve Coogan in Tropic Thunder. Stepping on the landmine and exploding. That it's one of the absolute funniest moments to me. The theater, like screamed laughing the first time I ever saw that happen. So yeah, that's.
I got a good recent one. Game night, when the henchman is sucked into the plane's engine, and Rachel McAdams has that line like, did he die? And it's like, so he's literally blood and guts on the pavement. That moment is hilarious. She really sells it. It's a really funny beat. I was also thinking Monty Python and the Holy Grail has a lot of funny deaths. Like when they're like, what's your favorite color? Red, no blue. And then he like flies off with a Black Knight getting his arms and legs slashed off.
Legendary.
Mine is just the whole of Weekend at Bernie's.
Just dragging the corpse, dragging the body.
Prolonged, humorous beat.
I am also, I feel like I owe those I referenced them enough that I feel like I owe them a rewatch.
Get on it.
At least one. At least part one.
No, both of them. Just out of pure respect that they got a sequel out of that premise, I think is worth revisiting. The other big one for me is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. When the kid, we quote this more than any movie, I think, in our house. When the kid falls into the wood chipper, and Alan Tudyk is desperately trying to pull him out, and he's covered in blood, and he says, "You okay?" We quote that more than anything in this house.
Also, a really an iconic one, Fazzini's death in Princess Bride. Like, you fool! Face. Yeah.
Deadpool 2 also had the whole X-Force. You know, that was pretty well done a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Everyone
montage, death montage.
That felt like a burn to movie journalism, like online movie.
Yep.
Because everyone's like, "Oh my God, X-Force is going to be in it," and like everyone's like, "Who's playing who?" I've heard that guy's going to play Shatterstar and this and that, and let's make a video about it, and then just murking them in 30 seconds.
Yeah, someone should make a meme where they like put all the different sites over like the faces of the various X-Force members as they each one by one. 100%. I will get Logan on that immediately.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like when they conceived of that, they must have known, like, oh man, we can promote that these guys are in the movie for months. It's going to be hilarious. Like that, I'm sure that was part of the appeal of writing that sequence into the movie.
Well, we want to know. Let us know in the comments, what are your favorite movie deaths, and also we want you guys to accept the Rewatch the Weekend at Bernie's challenge in honor of Kim being back on SJU. Welcome back to the show, my friend. And then in the meantime, Eric has talked to Margot Robbie for Dreamland. She plays a bank robber in the 30s in Texas. It looks super fun. Eric, who is, again, one of my favorite interviewers. I'm not biased just because we're coworkers. He's just really good at what he does. Talked to Margot Robbie all about it. Check this out, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
If you see this woman, do not confront her.
They're hunting me.
Margot, let me start with you. You know, you have quite a resume already as a producer in the past few years. Can you talk about what it was about Dreamland that made you know you wanted to be very involved from the get-go with this project?
Yeah, it was one of the first projects we brought on board at Lucky Chap, and we were immediately drawn to the potential scope and the cinematic quality to the kind of era and the dreamlike quality that you kind of fall in love with before reality kind of smacks the audience in the face. And there was a beautiful, kind of complicated love story, which always gets me. We knew that we needed to find the right director for it, as you do with any project, but there was something about Miles's first film. I think it's because there were kind of these relationships that I think if you explain them in one sentence would sound really simplistic, but when he let it play out on screen, it felt incredibly nuanced and complicated, and it kind of hit you in the guts. And that's what I felt like we needed here. He's also incredibly technically gifted, so we knew we were going to get, this stunning sort of cinematic experience.
Miles, the title Dreamland evokes a lot before we even go into the movie. So given both that title, but also, the period piece of it all, how did you approach it visually, going in?
For me, it's the look of the film or the style of the film is always dictated by sort of the emotion and the characters, the claustrophobic nature of a landscape that vast, as well as the potential for freedom in it.
It's not safe me being here.
The visuals of it are telling the story as well.
Or for any of us for that matter.
But it was really about using the landscape as a kind of spark to set off the explosion that would be the story and that would be these characters.
You found her, ain't you? Who was lady?
The core of the story, of course, is this pull between Eugene and Allison. He's drawn to her from the moment he sees her, but there's this implicit danger, clearly. How much hesitation do you think he feels versus simply kind of wanting to believe in this connection?
He's naive, isn't he, when we first find him, and he learns a lot in a very short space of time. He thought she was so beautiful and so attractive, and then he saw this opportunity and she was sort of selling him the dream and manipulating him in such a way that I think he was quite optimistic about the future.
Somebody's gonna pay me $20,000 to get them to Mexico. Can you even imagine that much money?
But then obviously reality hits, and we have to sort of watch him figure that out as a young man.
On the flip side, Margot with Allison, she clearly needs him for some very specific reasons. But then there's that fine line of when maybe she starts to have some feelings for him. So how'd you approach that performance-wise as far as not playing one versus the other too much?
Yeah, I think all of the feelings were there, all the intentions were there. It's just which one was rising to the top at any given moment. And I think when she felt most vulnerable is probably when she was most harsh and when she could be most ruthless. And I think once their relationship kind of solidified, that support gave her, I guess, just enough security to really question what she was doing and the kind of person she was in letting this happen to someone else.
A lot of those beats really come on the day. Your chemistry with the other characters in the piece are really how you gauge that and how you then work that into the story.
There's a point in the movie, it's kind of, it's my favorite scene where he kind of says the thing that you are not expecting him to say. He asked the question, why are you here? He's grown so much, he's evolved so much at that point that I felt like that kind of is a massive turning point. The fact that he kind of comes at her with the truth.
I agree. I think that was the moment where he suddenly was like, no, wait, I've got to really figure out what's going on right now, because this could be life or death.
This episode is sponsored by Google Play. Download Candy Crush Saga and discover more on Google Play now.